What's up, guys? Jackass with ApexHead.com bringing you a informal part 2 of the F1 2012 demo. Going to be walking you through a qualifying session and a race sequence here. And it's kind of nice to have the announcer there at the beginning of the race. That adds a nice touch. So this is the qualifying session, and it's a single lap. And the only thing we can really do here is take a look at the session overview here, and that would probably have times as we went along, and of course we still have the quick setup. And given that this is Monza, going to use a faster setup, why not? But as you can see, no custom setup options, and I'm sure that's probably just because this is part of the demo, and they just want you to have a couple of little tweaks here and there and then just get out onto the track. As you can see here, we've got a new little cinematic as we start the session, so that's kind of a nice addition there. And here we are in the new view in the game, which is sort of an offset TV pod view. And I figured I would try it out. I haven't really used it much, and trying to get my feel for the controls here. And the first thing I notice as I take the cars out is they've added a lot more understeer. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, I'm sure that you will be able to use custom setups in the full release. Or, of course, possibly before the race. Remember, this is a qualifying session, so I'm not exactly sure what will happen when we get to race day. And there might be some opportunities to tweak the setup then. But going to have to stick with what we can for now. And one thing that I didn't point out at the start of the lap is there's actually a ghost pace car. And what I mean by that is whoever is the leader, as you can see, Hamilton's ghost, quote-unquote, shoots by me there. That is the pace for pole position. So now I was having a very good lap, and then I took that corner too slow, and now I see that I'm that far behind the leader to qualify. So going to try and make up as much ground as I can here along the straight, activating DRS and using the KERS. And definitely some new engine noises for the game. The engines sound distinctly different, so that's unique. And slowing down here, very tricky. I'm not used to this view at all, so this is kind of a learning on the fly type thing. But you can see that I'm going to finish pretty close to Hamilton, but of course not good enough for pole position. And looking at this here, we qualified 6th. So, and you can see down here, wasn't pointed out that Sergio Perez is my rival. And what seems to be unique in the demo is that you have an opportunity to select a rival heading into this race. So I'm not sure if that's probably something that's going to be implemented for career mode in the full release, I suspect. So let's have a look and see what our objective here is for the race. And once in a while you get an announcer for this part, but this wasn't my first time playing it. So maybe that's what wiped out the audio. And you could see there that my objective was to beat my rival, Sergio Perez. And again, I selected Sergio Perez just kind of randomly before the start of this race. And we'll have to wait and see how that's implemented. So this is the new user interface apparently from your car monitor view. And all this looks pretty familiar. And here's our setup.
The car setup screen allows you to fine-tune your
and let's see what options we have in here as the engineer gives us a rundown and see if we're able to modify it. Let's take a look at the aerodynamics, and no, not able to change anything. So, but at least it's there. We know it's there, so that's fine. And no real reason to change our tires, given this is a 5-lap race, no pit stop required. And we are ready to get out on track and check out race conditions. And one more thing that I've noticed right away is that the menus are a lot quicker. And all of your autosaves take place while you're still able to be out of the menu and get back to what you were doing, so you don't have to wait for the autosaves. The loading seems to be quicker. It just seems leaner and faster, which is a good thing. Hopefully that'll carry over into the full release.
new season first race. We need a good result against your rival today.
Just checking out the new engineer dialogue there, and again he mentioned Sergio Perez, and that is my objective, to beat him. And don't remember where he was qualified, but I'm up in P6 now, losing some speed to Raikkonen in the Lotus on the outside. Heading down into turn 1 and deaccelerate. Don't want to cause any problems here. Hit the back of Vettel, but handle it mostly okay. And now he's into the sand. And now we're 3 cars wide, activating my KERS, trying to get up into P3 and see if we can settle in behind Hamilton, who's very, very slow through here. And, you know, now that I think about it, there was no actual opportunity to change a difficulty, so I wonder what the AI by default is. We make contact with Alonso heading into the tight chicane, and able to maintain P2 for now. The assists I didn't really mention. This is basically with no assists with the exception of traction control, so we're in manual gears and no ABS, none of that stuff. But we are using full traction control. I will turn that down just to test it and see if it's any easier for me than 2011. Basically with the 360 controller, which is what I use, it's just very, very touchy and hard to master. As you can see, I basically completely abused that curb. I see that's still in the game. And as you can see, losing pace to Alonso here on the long back straight. And gonna check out my D-pad options. I actually was trying to check out the brake settings, which is new to the game, not the tires. Gonna have to mess with that in just a minute. Got to collect my focus and manage this corner. And trying to stay ahead of Hamilton. Gonna go ahead and switch my view to cockpit, which is the view that I typically use by default, and I like the way they've cleaned it up. It definitely looks better. It's easier to see the road. I'm not sure what the difference is as we come up on the back of Alonso here, and we do make some slight contact, and gonna go ahead and challenge him on the outside using my KERS here, and see if we can get around him without pushing him off. And up into P1 for now, and Alonso yields as I start to skip off into the grass, but then collect myself and slow down and stay ahead of the pack for the time being. But getting back to cockpit view, I can't exactly put my finger on what the differences are, but I do like it. And I also like what they've done with the gearbox. They've made the gears longer so you can accelerate a little bit longer before shifting. And that feels more comfortable to me. As you can see, the Ferrari pushing hard down this long stretch here, and now backing off, and definitely was keen to get by me there, but able to fend him off for now as we head up to the end of lap 2. Anyway, the revs seem longer, and that's actually welcome as far as I'm concerned. I like sort of pacing my shifting, and with F1 2011 it could be a little frantic sometimes. And also the other things that I've noticed concerning the other views, for example TV pod, or sort of that off-kilter, the new view that I was using on the first lap. Feels like the controls are a little more twitchy. Again, I'm using an Xbox 360 controller, so I can't vouch for what a wheel would feel like. But I can say that it feels a little more responsive, and I'm not sure if that's for the better. I think it just takes a little bit of finesse. But again, that goes back to the setups, and of course people will be tinkering immediately upon getting this game and posting setups online within a matter of days, I'm sure. So there is hope for any control issues that you may have. Frame rate seems very, very stable. I think it's probably the best frame rate that we've seen from the franchise. I feel like I've got time to sort of see my curbs coming in. It seems a little less sort of frantic and a little less hectic, seeing your corners as you come into them, so that's really, really nice. So far I'm really liking the improvements. As you can see now, I've built up a pretty significant gap to the AI, so this must be either beginner or intermediate AI, I'd have to suspect. And thinking back now, there is no actual difficulty setting adjustments that we can make in the demo, so basically just set your assists and go. But still getting our feet wet here. As you can see, I make a lot of mistakes coming through those corners, and that's going to let Alonso have a go here out on the inside. And going to go ahead and let him go by, see if I can outbrake him here. And now Button trying to get in on the action as I go wide, and Button having a look on the inside here, but has to fall back and yield, and able to push on the inside of Alonso coming up to the start-finish straight as we've got 2 laps to go. So the two things that we are not able to test here in the demo really is there's no damage modeling because damage is turned off, and we won't really know what the AI looks like until the final game is released because we can't change the difficulty settings. So those are the two big unknowns. More so the AI in terms of gameplay than damage modeling, but I am curious what they've done to update the damage. And also curious as we get closer to the end of this race, and looking like it's going to be a pretty easy victory based on the gap right now. Wondering if Codemasters has included a podium sequence, which has never been included, and much to the frustration of some gamers. I've never cared that much, but I still wouldn't mind seeing one. And that sort of brings up the topic of presentation. I have seen some updated cinematics. We get a new little sequence when we come out for qualifying, and it's probably going to be included in practice. Looked like there might be some new cutscenes in the garage and who knows where else. I'm wondering if the media will still be included. in between the races. I've always liked the media function of the F1 series. I just wish that it had a little more meaning. It's pretty easy to just sort of, kind of click through it, and not a lot of strategy behind it. And it'd be nice if some of your questions, or your answers, I should say, carried a little more weight, or I don't know. There was just some less predictability about it. You might have a media blow up about something that you say and things like that. It'd be kind of cool, but also not the easiest thing in the world to program for. So, and also not critical to the game itself. So, probably one of those things that's sort of a back burner wish list for me, more than anything that's important to making a strong F1 series title. And I know a lot of people have asked that commentary be included during the races. I, for one, am against that idea. I like the sound of the engine and being able to hear all those things as you whistle along down the track. So that would be distracting to me. But I do like the audio intros that you get from the narrator coming into the sessions. Hopefully those will be included for every session. Just sort of a nice touch to, kind of hype you up a little bit, but not disruptive. And I think the commentary would probably get stale and would be difficult to keep fresh as the race went on. And frankly, I need my focus to play this game. I don't know about most people, but I do not want to be distracted by, listening to the AI, comment about overtakes and this and that. The one other thing I'd like to see and hope is included in the 2012 release is more feedback from your engineer. I'd like to be getting more feedback in terms of, lap times of the leaders, lap times of people in front of you. I have heard that he's giving you updates on position of your rival as you come around each lap. So, lap times, position, things like that, that would be very nice if it was included more abundantly. So there we have it. Getting the victory here and beating out Sergio Perez. And you can see that actually I had a second objective, actually probably the first objective, was to finish fourth or above. And I did not notice that objective at the start of the race. So here are the final results, and you can see that my rival is marked with a blue R icon down there in 11th position, and then the yellow TM for teammate for Pastor Maldonado in 15th. Those little visual cues are a nice addition. Makes it easier to scan the grid and see where everyone placed. So now let's take a look at the cinematic sequence following the race. And I'm suspecting, yes, this looks like 2011. A little updated, a little more polish. So that's not surprising. I actually really like these sequences. I was really happy when they included them last year. And wondering if there's a true podium sequence. And if there's not one here, who knows, maybe in the final release, although I kind of doubt it. If it's not here, it's probably not in the final release, but we'll have to wait and see. So the two big unanswered questions are what the AI will be like, as well as multiplayer. Pretty big question marks, but I've been very encouraged by what I've seen here. And I think the improvements to the presentation, menus, and the weight of the cars and the handling and things like that are all updated. So they are making good progress on this series as far as I'm concerned. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Feel free to check out part 1, which takes you through the young driver test, and I'll hope to see you next week for my new F1 series. Thanks again.